Southern Miss, right? I mean, you could have died in that car accident, and you lose 35 pounds. I know I had to write it down, everything that happened to you.
36 inches of intestines, lost 35 pounds, fractured a vertebrae in my back, had numerous cuts and lacerations all over my body, was beat to a pulp. Could have very easily ended right there.
Everything we're talking about here, it all could have ended. So you were fishing with your brother and a couple buddies off of the Gulf of Mexico, right? In July of 90?
Yeah, you know, they say a lot of accidents happen right by your house. I don't know if that's true, but I was a half a mile from my house when I ran off the road, wasn't paying attention. My brother was actually following me in his car because I had drove down that day from college and met them. And he said it looked like I was flying. I flipped 3 times and a tree stopped me and I came to rest alongside this tree. So it very easily could have ended badly.
We've been talking about drinking so much. Was alcohol involved? I mean, there's so many different stories out there from what happened that day.
No.
It was 95 miles, so you got that close to home.
Yeah, no, it was not alcohol involved. It wasn't texting and driving because there wasn't cell phones then. And it was, I say middle of the day. It was the summer, so it doesn't get dark till 8:30. So it was probably 2, 3 o'clock. Just ran off the road, not paying attention and I remember jerking the car back. And I guess that's probably not the best thing to do. I jerked back and it did this. And then flipped.
You ended up like behind the passenger seat, right? In like the back seat, and your brother had to bust open the window with a golf club to get to you?
Yeah, because the car was up on its side. And, he had his golf clubs with him, busted the window, pulled me out, drugged me to the road. And, I just remember I didn't have a shirt on. I was sunburned so bad. And I remember him laying me on the black asphalt and it's 100 degrees. And I started screaming and he's like, what is it? What is it? I said, the pavement. All the pain that I had was forgotten for a brief moment. And it was all centralized right on my back where I was hard sunburned and I was baking on this asphalt. And then I remember the ambulance loading me up, taking me in. And then I started asking questions. How bad am I? Will I play football again? All this stuff that was unknown at the time.
You were unresponsive though for a period. I think your brother Scott thought that you might have even been dead for a moment there. It was kind of horrible.
Yeah, obviously I don't remember that because I was out. But I think it'd be fair to say that I had a severe concussion. Man. Most definitely.
The doctor treating you, I'd read, described you as like a prize fighter being knocked out. Like you didn't even remember the accident. And like we said, this is July. So football season's around the corner. Southern Miss, you guys played like a D2 team that first game. So you sat
played
out that
Stephen
game.
F. Austin the first game at home. And then the second game was at Alabama. So I had the car wreck July 14th. And August 8th, I think it was August 8th, I had surgery. So I went into the hospital. I stayed initially down on the coast where the wreck happened. I stayed in the hospital roughly 7 days. Ate very little, if anything. Obviously lost a bunch of weight when they didn't know anything about the intestines at the time. They knew I was beat up. I was bruised really bad on my right side. I had a seat belt. A perfect seat belt, stripe right across front of my body.
Shit, thank God you had that.
And then they released me. I stayed a few days at home at my parents' house. Kind of felt better, but something wasn't right. understandably so. You just were in a major accident. Doctors cleared you. So it's going to be a long road. Then Deanna and I went to Hattiesburg, which is an hour north. She was taking summer school classes. And one day she was over at a friend's house in a study group, and I started having severe pains in my stomach. Like, I don't know what it's like to have an ice pick stuck in your stomach or a knife and just like needling it. That's what it felt like to me. And I called our trainer, Doc Harrington, and I told him where I was. And I said, I think I need to go to the hospital. And he came and got me, loaded me up in his van. The hospital was 2 miles away. Went to the hospital. Within 2 hours, I was having emergency surgery for, basically they stuck it when I went in the hospital. I do remember this. They stuck a tube in my nose and it didn't want to fit, so they had to keep jamming. And I had no pain medication or anything. Finally, they got it in. My nose was bleeding. That hurt horrendously. And they waited for my parents to get there before they did the operation. Then I remember them wheeling me back, and they said, he needs emergency surgery right now. A good portion of his intestines has died. And it took it, several weeks for that to really rear its ugly head. I was able to get a little food in and past the intestines and I wish I still had a Polaroid. When he took 36 inches out, and thankfully you got feet of intestines. But he took a picture of, like a Polaroid picture of my intestines, and it looked like someone had taken a bat and beat that portion of the intestines. It was black and blue. And then he took the two ends, the good ends, connected it. And, as you can imagine, it took me a while to want to eat. So from the time of the wreck to the time I really started having an appetite was almost a month. September 8th was when we played the Crimson Tide in Alabama. I don't play the first game against Stephen F. Austin. And I was running sprints. I probably poorly. I was doing things on the side. No one expected me to play. The doctor said that he won't play.
Ever. One said ever.
One said ever. The doctor who did the surgery did a wonderful job. But he said, good thing he's got a redshirt year. It's not wise for him to play. And I'm hearing all this stuff. A lot of it was said in front of me and our head coach, Curly Hallman. And the more they said it, the more I said to myself, I didn't tell anyone I'm going to play. I told myself I'm going to play.